Hey guys, so we're back again with another reading, and this one is all about what do people find cute about you. So what do they find adorable about you, endearing about you? Why do they find you so darn cute? We're going to get into all of it, and today we have a beautiful selection of tropical fruits for you guys to choose from. I am going to be doing an extended version of this over on my Patreon, so if this reading resonates with you and you'd like to see the end of it and hear the rest, then you can head on over to the Patreon link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and watch the rest of this reading. But if it's your first time watching one of my pick a cards, basically I do pick a cards but with fake food a lot of times instead of cards. So you're going to make up your mind the way you would decide on other pick a cards. So basically you're going to see the piece of fruit that is just calling your name, drawing your attention in, just seems to be magnetizing you to it. And then once you've made up your mind, you can scroll down to the timestamps and jump to the pile of fruit that you resonated with, and that will have your message and your reading for you. So trust your intuition to guide you to the right pile, and then as soon as you make up your mind, scroll down to those timestamps and jump into your pile. I'm going to show you guys what each of the pieces of fruit look like up close. So this is going to be pile number 1. I have no idea what this is, but I'm sure it's really tasty. Maybe you guys will know in the comments. You always do. And then this is pile 2. This one is avocado, which is a fruit, I think, not a vegetable, even though we use it like one. I love the little leaf. And this is mangosteen. I love mangosteen. So good. So that one looks really realistic. And finally, we have this lemon. So this also looks really, really realistic. I love the little leaf on it. And the coloring looks so good. But anyways, guys, as I mentioned, I am going to be following up on this reading over on Patreon. And as soon as you sign up for my Patreon, you'll get access to about 50 additional readings. So if you do like how I read tarot and you'd like to see more of my content, that's where you can find it over there. I have readings up about love, life, spirituality, career, relocation. The reading I posted before this is all about how you can improve your love life, what you should do to improve, change, and get the kind of love life you want. But there's a ton of content over there, and as soon as you sign up, you get access to absolutely all of it. So new readings also go up all the time. You guys vote and suggest on new readings. So there's a lot to do over on Patreon. I hope you will join us, not just for this reading, but for others. And you can head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description if you want to join us over there. I also do private readings. So if you'd like to get one of those, head on over to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can get a half hour or a full hour session with me. Have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship or intuitively for you. You can do a pre-recorded reading or a live reading, year ahead reading, career reading, love reading. There's so many options, and you really get to customize and decide what you want in your reading and how it's going to go. So if you'd like to get one of those, head on over to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link is in my description for that as well, and get a reading with me. So with all of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, take as much time as you need, but we are going to go ahead and jump into pile 1. Hey, pile 1. So if you guys picked this fruit, this is going to be your reading. I really have no idea what it is. It kind of looks like a super ripe avocado, but I think it's some kind of a sweet fruit. So if you know, let me know in the comments. I love the super realistic leaves though. It looks really good. I would eat it. Anyways, guys, let's get into your cards. You guys got the Spiral Dancer, Circuitous Route, Perception, the Dragon's Duel, Inner Conflict, Morality, Conscious Choice, the Arrow Master, Hitting the Mark, Intention, Detachment. So the first thing that's coming through for you guys, I feel like you guys are feisty. Either you get really cute when you get mad, like you might start, I don't know, talking really fast, or like I feel like when you get, like it's like you guys, like I said, you're feisty. You're the type of person who might, you know, if someone like is rude to you out in public, like you would have something to say about it. You wouldn't just be like super chill. You might not like actually say anything to the person, but afterwards you might like rant to your friend or rant to the guy you're dating or whatever, or be like, oh my God, did you see that? Oh my gosh. And I feel like people think it's kind of cute. There's something about it that is like endearing. Like it's almost like you're not actually gonna like hurt them or do anything bad to them or whatever, but there's something about it that's kind of like a little bit sexy, the way your eyes get like screwed up and you like kind of glare or like you pout a little bit or something like that. Like you're the type that I feel like has strong opinions too. You might go on like rants about like random like celebrity stuff, or like if someone's like, oh, do you like that movie? You're like, oh my God, I hate that movie, and blah, 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 blah. But I feel like people around you really think that it's cute and endearing, and they get a kick out of it. Like it's almost like, oh my God, here she goes. Okay, she's ranting about this now. Like, oh, okay, of course, she's always ranting, you know? So I feel like people like hearing your opinions. And like, I also feel like you guys have interesting things to say, to be honest with you. I feel like when you do rant, it's not completely irrational, like a crazy person going on a rant. It's like, you know, it's like you're making some valid points. And so I feel like in a way, people love hearing you go on these rants. Like it does kind of make them think a little bit, and it does broaden their mind a little bit. But there's also something just cute about it. And you might literally look just a lot cuter when you're ranting. Like you might just have a physical appearance quality, like when you furrow your brow, or like when you're pouting and you kind of stick your lip out or something like that, or you're like crossing your arms not speaking to someone. I feel like it also gives you a kind of like hard to get quality, where sometimes people are like, oh, I'm not going to get on their bad side. And I do feel like a lot of you guys might have like simps around you, or even like munches, like Ice Spice style, where you are just you just have people who like really want to like kind of, I don't want to say worship you, but like they think you're so amazing, and they wish they could be in your inner circle. They wish they could date you. They wish they could, they think it's funny that you're kind of so like standoffish at times. You know what I mean? Like you're hard to get. You're actually hard to get. And I feel like, you know, that just makes you more of a prize. So a lot of people like might be intimidated by you, even pile one, where they might think like, oh, I'd like to approach pile one, but like they're really tough, and I know they're not gonna like be willing to date me, and dating them would be an adventure. Like they know they're never gonna get bored with you, because I feel like you would always have a strong opinion, or you would always be the kind of person who's like, no, I'm not doing that, just because you're in a bad mood that day, and like suddenly you're just being emotional for no reason. But people find it kind of endearing. Like it's almost sometimes, not all the time, but like a little kid throwing a tantrum or something. You know what I mean? Not actually, but like there's a vibe to that of like, oh my gosh, let me try to talk them down. Let me be nice to them. Let me calm them down. Let me feed them so they like chill out a little bit. So I feel like, yeah, people do find this very cute, even though it might not be one of the like cute characteristics that you would think of right away. They do think of it as a very cute quality that you have. And a lot of people think that you like don't notice them, is what I'm hearing. So a lot of people might think that you are just kind of in your own world doing your own thing, focus on your own friends or your own friend group or whatever, and they just assume that like you don't even pay attention to them. I also think people think you're nice even though they don't. Even though you're feisty, they also think of you as nice. It's almost like they would laugh, because again, I feel like you just go on rants. Like you would just be like, oh my God, the food here is horrible, and we have, you know, this is like awful food and blah blah blah, and you would just like go on, and there's something about it that people like laugh. Especially you might attract a lot of introverts or people who are kind of like would never rant and are super chill, because there's like an excitement around you, there's a passion. I'm seeing that emoji of the girl in the red dress dancing and like snapping her finger up in the air. Like I feel like there's a fiery feistiness, kind of like, you know, a hot pepper in like a meal, how it spices it up, and it's just more exciting. There's something about that about you. So as far as the tarot, we got the Justice card, Seven of Pentacles, Temperance card, the Ace of Swords, and then two cards to spell. So let me grab those. We got the Ace of Cups and the 10 of Cups. And actually, I think that was going to be reversed, but anyway, yeah, so I feel like even though you're kind of standoffish to certain people, they also see you being very protective and loving to your inner friend circle, like to the people that you're actually really close to. You are super close to them, and you would kind of do anything to protect them, to look out for them. You're someone who would probably like very much look after your family members, or like I said, your friend group, someone who probably would be very protective of everyone around you, and would definitely not like let someone mess with you or let someone mess with your loved ones. So I feel like in a way people feel kind of safe around you at the same time. but they also kind of want to protect you, because I feel like at the same time, even though you look after everyone else, you don't always necessarily look after yourself. So there is this vibe of like, you know, pile one is always fighting or feisty, or they always have an opinion and they're kind of tough, but it's like I want them to feel safe with me. I want them to be able to relax around me. I want them to be able to lay down their guard around me. And I feel like a lot of people, like, again, with the temperance card coming through, a lot of people want to shoot their shot with you, but I'm hearing that they're like too afraid to approach, because again, I think that feistiness, it works both ways. It draws them in, but at the same time, it kind of intimidates them and makes them think like, oh, I don't want to like embarrass myself by, you know, coming right up to pile one, because pile one isn't just going to be that average run-of-the-mill person who's going to be like, oh yeah, that's fine, and just be like super sweet about it. Even though I feel like you guys are sweet, and I feel like you would go out of your way to be nice to someone who is approaching you, I feel like there's this intimidation, because also I feel like people, like I said, when you go on your rants, it's actually stuff that makes sense. When you have your opinions, it's not nonsense. So people actually do respect your judgment, and they don't want to get on the bad side of it. They don't want to make a fool of themselves by, you know, acting like a clown in front of you. So for a lot of them, it's like, I'm just gonna like stay in the background. I'm not gonna actually put myself fully out there and really shoot my shot towards pile one. I'm just gonna kind of bide my time. And then I feel like that ends up into them like running out of time with you and you just moving on. Or they might also perceive you as having a lot of suitors. Like I feel like you have, like I said, a spiciness about you. Also, some people find your figure very cute. You might have a very, like, if you're a girl, very feminine figure, like curves around your hips, waist, or well, not, well, yeah, you know, your hips and your butt and that kind of a thing. But I feel like they find you to be very like that spitfire, feminine, almost like Lilith energy of someone who is like kind of, yeah, she's not like pick me or trying to be desperate for attention or approval. She's like in her own lane, doing her own thing. And I feel like also you guys might dress in a really cute way. You might like put extra effort into your appearance, or be the type to always leave the house with like makeup on or just looking really good. But I feel like physically you are very attractive, and they just find your physical form attractive. Like your face is cute in particular. I actually feel like that's why people like looking at your face when you're mad, is because you're someone who can pull off like a million different facial expressions. You don't have to like have your face just restful or in like a kissy pose to be attractive. It's like attractive even when you're scowling, or it's attractive when you're ranting and going off on someone or like shouting, you know. So you might be like, why are my boyfriends always like pushing my buttons? And that might be why, because they actually find it cute and endearing when you are mad at them. I also feel like a lot of you guys are probably go-getters when it comes to work, and you just seem like you would be kind of booked and busy, which I think people find cute, because like I said, it's kind of hard to get. It's like hard to get a hold of you, hard to be around you, and you seem very ambitious. Like you seem like someone who is just interesting. You're never boring. You're always going to be a good time. You're always going to be going here, doing that, off to this place, off to that place, exploring this, exploring that, talking to that person, talking to this person. So I feel like a lot of people just think of you as someone who is, like I said, hard to get a hold of, ambitious, and super, super loyal. Like I feel like once you link up with someone, or you kind of make a relationship in some way, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, like you would do literally anything for the people around you, and you're actually super caring. And I think that's something people find cute, is it's almost like you have this exterior that's feisty and kind of difficult or tough at times, but deep down on the inside, you're actually such a sweet, nice person. And I also feel like people really love having conversations with you. Like they find conversations with you super invigorating, and you have always something really interesting to say. I feel like a lot of you guys in this pile, you might be like a deep thinker, or just someone who always is like an interesting conversationalist, always knows what topics to bring up, or how to keep the conversation moving, or what to say that's going to be interesting. I feel like it's like a night with you is never dull. Like even if you went to a party, you would have a lot of people drawn to you, wanting to talk to you, or you would be the life of the party, like dancing around on like a table or something. But I feel like in general, people feel really drawn to you just based on your physical appearance. And there's also like a graceful kind of Capricornian energy about you at times, where I feel like you don't you don't let people see you sweat as much, you know what I mean? You wouldn't like let someone see you like rushing around making a scene. I feel like you generally try to stay really composed and like someone who, again, looks really good, puts effort into their physical appearance. And I feel like you really make a good impression because of that. And just your physical form. I also feel like a lot of you guys smell good. You might wear some perfume or something like that, or just a really nice body wash or shampoo. But I do feel like a lot of you guys smell good. Let's get some more cards for pile 1. Spirit, please can you tell me what makes pile 1 cute? Why do people find pile 1 cute? So we got know your worth, time to move on. And I feel like a lot of that is what it is like, you know your worth. You know your worth. You guys know, you treat yourself with that respect. You might be kind of bougie at times, or be someone who likes to dress up, or likes to dress really nicely, or just isn't around for the BS. Like, you're not going to stick around and tolerate someone treating you badly. So I feel like you, again, you have a vibe of like hard to get a hold of, or someone who is very like high end, high status, someone who isn't really wasting time and isn't going to pretend to like be, you're not fake. You're not going to pretend to be friends with someone if you're not. I feel like you keep it 100. You know what I mean? You keep it very honest with people. You keep it, you know, accurate. You're not going to like be a fake or pretend that you're really close to someone that you don't actually like. So there is a very strong kind of queen energy around you. Let's get some more cards. Boss up. Yes, you have that boss energy. So I feel like it's funny because it's so funny that this is coming through, and why do people find you cute? Because I know a lot of these aren't like cute characteristics, but I feel like people find something about you that is something about this vibe that's kind of fiery, feisty, independent, where it's like a challenge that they want to meet. And actually it's kind of a turn on for a lot of people to see how they could like fit into your life, or how they could win your approval over, because I feel like your approval means quite a lot to them. I feel like your approval is something that they really seek out and want. And I do feel like you guys are someone who, like, once you're done with someone, or once someone isn't working for you in your life anymore, you're over it. You're ready to move on. You're done. You know, you're happy with like cutting someone off. And so I feel like once someone gets with you, they might really try hard to be on their best behavior and act really right and not mess things up with you. Because I'm not gonna lie, a few people are very intimidated by you, and they definitely don't want to like get on your bad side. Let's get some more cards. I feel like, again, people think of you as you would make like a great mom, because you're very protective. You would make a great mama bear. You would be someone who is for sure going to look after everyone around you, take care of everyone around you. And like I said, you actually have a very soft side to you. It's not all tough. Like, I'm not going to say it's a facade, because it's real, but deep down you're the most loving, caring person. And there's something very, there's almost like, you know, it's kind of like how cancers in astrology have a hard shell to protect the soft interior of their soft flesh. And I feel like that's the vibe with you, is you guys are kind of tough on the outside, but on the inside, you're actually the biggest sweetheart. And so people can kind of sense that about you, and they find it kind of cute how protective of yourself you are, how feisty you are, how you block certain people out. And I feel like, again, it makes you into someone that a lot of people would like as like a long-term relationship, like a girlfriend or a boyfriend, because also they probably know you would like never cheat or do anything like that, because you are so like, you're so hard to please that like, even if someone was trying to cheat with you and they were putting on the charm, you probably wouldn't like them. You probably would be like, no, I'm good, I'm not interested. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of loyalty with you. And again, that the fact that you're hard to win the approval from just really draws people into you. I also feel like you're the type of person who you love the things you love. So if it's like you have a new perfume, or you have a new clothing item, or you have some new purse, or whatever the case may be, you would be the kind of person who would show it off to everyone and be like, look at this, look what I got. Oh my God, should I do a fashion show for you? Like, you're so enthusiastic. So like, the passion goes both ways. It's not just that you're feisty, but it's also that when you really love something, you love it hard. And you were that kind of person who like fights hard, loves hard. There's an intensity around you, and nothing is ever boring. So if you are, excited about a new vacation or a trip. At the same time, like if your partner bought you a vacation or a trip or whatever, you wouldn't just be like, oh, thanks, babe, that's really nice. You'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you would like show that love so strong. So people want to be on the receiving end of all these deep emotions you have. The passion, the fire, the intensity you give off is something that I think so many people find so cute, super endearing, and really, really attractive. Let's get into some astrology dice. Spirit, please can you give me astrology dice for pile number 1? Okay, so we have Cancer, we got Scorpio, and we got Pluto. Wow, so there's a lot of water here actually, which makes sense with the strong emotion. And with the 4th house, that's Cancer, and then of course we have Scorpio energy coming through. So we have Cancer and Scorpio, 2 of the water signs. And I was talking about the Cancer energy, Cancer being the crab, so the hard shell to protect the soft exterior. And I definitely feel like you give off that vibe of someone who is tough on the outside, maybe even prickly at times or feisty, but like if someone was to tell you something sad that happened to them or about like a heartbreak they were going through, you might start crying, or like you would just be so, emotionally open to them, and you would just want to take care of them so much. And with Scorpio, it makes a lot of sense because we're combining that water emotion with the feistiness of Mars. So it makes perfect sense because Scorpio is very like prickly at times. Like if they don't like someone, they will never like them. They're not going to fake, they're not going to pretend. But if they like someone, they're kind of like obsessed. And once they do like someone, you're in forever and they will be so loyal to you. And also Scorpio gives off a very sexy vibe. Scorpio isn't afraid to fight anyone. It's Mars ruled, but they're also very emotional on the inside. So they'll sting you with their little stinger, but at the same time, they are a water sign and they're very emotionally deep. And I feel like that's the thing, is also Scorpio looks into situations very deeply with that intensity of Pluto. It's not just going to glaze on the outside and be like, yeah, it was fine. It's going to be like, I thought this, and I thought it was amazing, or I thought it was awful, and this was my opinion, and blah, blah, blah. Like they have such an intensity in how they look at things. It's extremely deep energy. And so I feel like you guys, when you do decide, or when you do have an opinion about something, it's just not just like a boring vanilla whatever opinion. It's like very intense. Let's throw this one more time to get one more sign for pile 1. Okay, we got Gemini. Okay, and that definitely makes sense as well, because I feel like with Gemini, you guys might be really great conversationalists. Geminis are also kind of moody. So that's definitely something that can also be echoed with the water energy for sure, especially Cancer. So I feel like people like that you're kind of sometimes moody, or sometimes you'd be in a bad mood for no reason, or people don't know how to expect or what to expect from you. They don't know what you're going to be doing. They don't know how you're going to take things. They might sometimes even feel like they have to walk on eggshells with you, but I feel like it's kind of attractive, and sometimes they get a kick out of you. Like I feel like people would kind of laugh like, oh gosh, now you're mad about this too? Oh my God. It was like, you're really going on such a long rant about some stupid movie, but it's like they really find it funny. And Gemini is a really funny energy too, really good with comedy and with their words. So you guys might be literally just very funny and entertaining to speak to. You might be someone who could go on a rant and actually make it fun to listen to and actually make it interesting. And I feel like people around you, they just love your conversational abilities. They love your conversational skills and the way you look at these different situations. They love the jokes you make. And honestly, I feel like it just brings them a laugh. The thing about Gemini is like sometimes they can just be mad at someone for absolutely no reason. They're the twins, so they have kind of dual personalities, and they have really multiple facets to their personalities. So I feel like people kind of never know what to expect with you. They kind of never know who they're going to wake up next to, what kind of a mood you're going to be in. You might change your fashion a lot or change your sense of style a lot, but I feel like you always keep everyone on their toes. You're always doing something exciting, new, different. And I feel like this makes you very cute, very adorable to the people around you. They just think of you as someone who's kind of like an interesting, a little bit different, feisty, high standards, But I feel like once, like, you're that kind of person who, like, you might be like a difficult customer or something, but if someone does a good job, you would tip them so well and you would be so nice and so gracious. And you wouldn't like scream at the staff if they did a bad job, but you might just not come back. Like, you just have high standards, but it's not because you're trying to be a jerk. It's because you really need things to be done well. And I feel like people recognize that about you, and they do respect that about you, that you are someone who is, who's demanding, but not in like a cruel way, just in like a, I need things to be done right and I would do it right, and like, you need to do it right for me. So yeah, I feel like, again, it's a very hard to get energy, very high standards energy, and I feel like that's one of the reasons people are super drawn to you. So anyways, guys, I'm going to be finishing this reading over on Patreon, so if you'd like to see the rest of this reading, if it did resonate with you and you want to get more info, we'll be getting into a lot more of it over on Patreon. You can head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments of the description. Yeah, the comments and the description, to head on over to my Patreon and see the rest of the reading. I would love to have you over there. And of course, when you sign up for my Patreon, you get access to all my other readings, so about 50 additional readings about so many different topics. So I would love to have you join us over at Patreon. And if you want to join, head to the link. And if not, I will see you in another reading. But thanks for watching, guys. Please make sure to like and subscribe, turn on those notifications so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you guys would like to get a private reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can get a half hour or a full hour long session with me, and I would love to do a reading for you. But anyways, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I will see you guys very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile 2, so if you guys picked this avocado, this is going to be your reading. It just looks so realistic. I seriously think this is the best fake fruit I've ever seen. I mean, the leaf is super realistic, the texture, the stem, they just knocked this one out of the park. So anyways, guys, let's get into your cards. You guys got Rainbow Prince, Compensation, Perseverance, the Ringmaster of Scrutiny, Discernment, Clear Vision, Details, the Resting Tree, Patience, Stillness, the Lady of the Mirror, Reflection, Non-Judgment. I feel like something that's really cute about you guys is there might be something kind of really understanding about you. I almost feel like some of you guys in this spell, you've been through a lot, and I feel like you're that friend that a lot of people feel comfortable opening up to, or like telling everything to. You might also be someone a lot of people come to for advice, and in that way I feel like there's something very like cute and open and warm and welcoming about your energy. At the same time, I feel like you can be very discerning and kind of a little bit standoffish at times. Like, you can sometimes check someone or put them in their place, or just be very smart, and you're not just going to be like, you know, lying to someone and telling them like, no, I think you did a great job, when they really mess something up. But I feel like it's cute how open and warm you are, how giving and loving your energy field is. And I feel like you guys are the kind, it's almost giving like mom vibes or mom friend, you know what I mean? And I feel like in that way, like so many of your romantic partners or people who are into you romantically, they just feel like they can open up to you on a totally different level than they've ever experienced before. And it honestly means so much to them. Like, I feel like in a way you inspire people to be braver with their love, or you inspire people to dive down deeper into the depths of their soul and their feelings and their emotions, and not be so standoffish and removed from it. I feel like you're that person that, like, if someone tells you the craziest story, or if someone tells you, you know, the most embarrassing thing, you wouldn't judge them for that. You would give them a lot of grace and understanding. And I feel like because of that, a lot of people, it's almost like I said, you're that soft place for them to land. Or a lot of people, when they think of you, it's like they have a soft spot in their heart for you. I feel like in a way, a lot of people wouldn't open up and tell you this right away. They wouldn't want you to know how much this has meant to them, and how kind of cute and endearing they find it. Because I feel like in a world of so many fakes, you guys are actually so real. You're so down to earth. You're so genuine. And I feel like it makes people think about kind of, I don't know, having a family with you, or about being with you long term, because you're really that friend or that person that they can go to confide in about their problems. You're really that person that they can go to and tell anything to and open up to, and just yeah, I feel like, people can kind of tell you're like a good person. And in that sense, you might look very physically cute. Like you might have like a button nose or like bigger cheeks, like a baby face or something like that. But there's something almost non-threatening about your energy, or just super warm and welcoming. I feel like some of you guys have like rosy cheeks, or you might blush easily or something, because I'm seeing like blush on cheeks. Um, or you might have like big eyes or something. I feel like there's also something quite studious about you. You guys might kind of have like not a nerdy vibe, but just seem very smart and intelligent. And you might also seem sometimes head in the clouds. So you might be cute in a way of kind of that like yeah, like head in the clouds, nerdy, like almost like Hermione from Harry Potter. I know that's weird, but you know how she's cute sometimes also when she even gets indignant with them, or when she's like telling them off and she's being like, you guys are the biggest clowns in school, or whatever she would say. Um, like I feel like so many guys had crushes on her character because she's very kind of bossy or smart, but she's also very warm. And I feel like you have that kind of vibe going on, where you're not just all the way bossy, but you're also not all the way like too much of a sap. So you'd kind of like give someone like a harsh wake up call, while at the same time being super like warm to them. So I feel like people find it cute how you kind of sometimes will be really smart and might sometimes even get mad or go off on something or be feisty in that way, but at the same time there's so much warmth coming out from you. There's so much warmth around you. And I feel like overall you're just that friend that everyone feels like they can go to and turn to and like tell everything to. I feel like for your loved ones and for your people you're in a relationship with, like you truly, truly would just not even give the shirt off your back, because that's not quite it, but you would just give the best advice. Like you're very smart and you're very discerning and you're also very supportive. And I feel like there's so many people that have opened up and told you things that they would never have told anyone else, that they would probably, they might tell you like, you're the first to know that I'm getting a divorce, or that I'm pregnant, or that I'm blah, blah, blah. And I feel like you're very non-judgmental. You're very open to them. And even if someone like maybe was being bullied, or someone was like left out of a friend group, or was being ostracized, you would be that person probably that would be like, hey, leave him alone, or you would stand up or say something. um, so yeah, I feel like people really admire that you are strong, you have this inner strength, but you're very kind with how you use it. You guys might even be kind of slow moving, like I'm hearing sloth like. I'm thinking of a friend of mine that's like impossible to rush, and she would just like move slowly, and even sometimes she would have really bad grip strength. And as a joke, we would ask her to like, okay, like take my hand and squeeze my hand, and she would just not be able to squeeze really hard. Like she was just, I don't know, physically weak hands or something. But honestly, we thought that was so adorable, because it was kind of like she'd try hard to squeeze as hard as she could, but for some reason she couldn't. Um, and I feel like this person was very nurturing by nature more so. So that might be your vibe as well, as like maybe she wasn't even trying to hurt everyone, but it was always like a joke within our friend group about how she couldn't squeeze her hand hard. I know that's weird, but I feel like for you guys, there's something about you that's bringing that to mind. Like you're not, you're very warm emotionally. You're very giving emotionally. And I feel like you, in that way, there is something very cute about your energy. There is something very endearing. And you might also be someone, like I said, head in the clouds into like, some kind of fictional world, into like a certain book, or you might read a lot, or you might love a certain movie, you might be into anime or something really specific, or a specific band or something like that. But I feel like sometimes you kind of being like head in the clouds, dreamy, is something that I feel like also makes you very cute and kind of adorable. And I feel like there's also like a private side to you. Like I've just got the image of someone who like feels insulted and they just kind of stop talking, or maybe they're in like a, I don't know, the classroom, and a teacher is like kind of rude to them or says like that question was wrong, and they just refuse to talk for the rest of the time. So I feel like you guys might be kind of stubborn at times, or kind of like once you're done, you're done. And I feel like that's also kind of cute. Like people kind of get a kick out of like, oh God, she's mad now about that. And she's not talking. Now she's ignoring everyone. Oh gosh. But it's kind of cute and endearing. So we also got Judgment reversed. Eight of Swords reversed. Knight of Swords. 10 of Wands. And the King of Swords. So you guys might do a lot for the people around you. You might really go out of your way to help others. I feel like that's also something people find cute, is like you're very warm, generous, open heart, open spirit, the way you really would go out of your way for like even a stranger. I feel like you're very, I feel like you're kind of someone a lot of people like. You might also like straight up look trustworthy. Like I was saying, I feel like this might come through in your physical appearance, where like if someone was panicking or having like a health issue or couldn't pay, didn't have enough money to pay, they might come up to you and be like, excuse me, could you help me? Like I'm really going through something. I feel like you almost have a beacon around you, like where people just know like, oh, this is a good person. This is a really nice person. And you look nice. You look sweet and unassuming. And you are a nice person. You actually genuinely are. So people might kind of come up to you in public and you might be like, why am I being asked by random strangers for this? Like, this is really odd. No one's asking anyone else. But I feel like it's because they know you have such a sweet heart and they know you're very kind in that way. So a lot of people would be drawn to you because of that, because they're kind of like, oh, this person, you know, I can tell that they're more open energetically and they're a giver and they're very kind, and also you're very smart as well. You might be someone who like I said, reads a lot. That just keeps coming through. I'm seeing someone like with a book, kind of like a bookworm energy, and you know, Hermione was coming through earlier. Someone who might be really good with their words, really intelligent, someone who might be very well read or very knowledgeable or just very educated on certain subjects in particular. But I feel like people kind of find that charming as well. Like, how the F do you know so much about like the Prussian War, you know, or how do you know so much about 17th century Chinese history? Like, what in the world is going on? I feel like people kind of get a kick out of it though. Like, okay, so pile 2 is the person that like reads all the time, so you'll have to go to them if you want to know about whatever book, you know. There's that kind of energy around you where everyone kind of laughs at like, oh, they're reading again, or like, oh, they're obsessed with that movie, or they love that anime, and so they're going to be holed up inside because a new season came out or whatever. But yeah, I think people find you very curious as well. Like, I also feel like you guys are the type that you could really get into like a deep conversation even with a stranger and end up just chatting for like hours with someone you don't even really know very well, because you are so energetically open and you're not as standoffish as others. And as long as like the conversation's interesting, like you're down. I feel like actually pile 2, you guys could get along well with a lot of people. A lot of people would find you very charming. You might have a large friend group or a very wide, varied friend group. And I feel like it's really effortless. Like, it's not something you have to seek out or try to charm anyone or try to figure out how to get along with people. It's just something that I feel like comes easily to you. And a lot of it is because you're genuine. Like, you kind of seem like a genuinely nice person. You don't seem like someone who is, like I said, faking, or someone who is pretending to be nice, or someone who is like wanting to come off as nice, so is consciously choosing to talk to a random stranger. But like, you're genuinely open and you're genuinely wanting to learn and talk to people from different cultures and get to know people, and you're very non-judgmental. Let's get one more tarot card from this deck. Let's see what else wants to come through. Page of Wands. So that can mean that you guys are very enthusiastic about the things you love, very curious, very open-minded, and very like when you want to be bold and energetic. I feel like you guys can be really funny, or you might like things like comedies that are kind of more lighthearted. Your energy is making me feel more lighthearted, more easygoing. Like, I feel like you're the kind of, you might be kind of goofy at times. You might be the kind of person that like when someone starts getting really deep or really intense and wanting to have like this really serious discussion, you might be the kind of person to make like a silly joke or to break the ice or be like, like, oh God, let's not go there. But I feel like you know, it's because you kind of want everyone to like get along more. You're not trying to get things into this super deep, crazy, intense territory. You're trying to keep everything kind of copacetic and letting everyone vibe. And I feel like, yeah, people kind of appreciate you doing that. They appreciate the fact that you don't take things super heavy or intensely, and you genuinely try to like uplift everyone's mood. I feel like you really focus on that. Like, let's get along, let's have a good vibe, let's enjoy, let's relax. Um, so yeah, I think it's like, you know, I feel like you're that really good-hearted friend at like a party that people would feel comfortable coming up to and telling everything to, or when you walk in, they're like, okay, so it's gonna be a good time. But I also feel like, again, I'm getting that it's kind of cute how feisty you can get, where like if someone does something that annoys you, you would cut them off. You just wouldn't even hang out with them. You wouldn't even want to stick around with them. You'd just be like, bye. I'm gonna go. Yeah, you like, I feel like you keep like when you get mad, you tend to get mad, and you will like cut someone off. I feel like, and let like you wouldn't forget it. You wouldn't be like, oh, it's not a big deal. I was mad, but I'm over it. It's not like even a fire sign energy, because like fire gets mad, but then they get over it. But it's more like earth energy. Like you're gonna remember it for a long time. You know, it's kind of stubborn, like fixed energy around you guys. So I feel like you are the type that sometimes people might kind of laugh about that, like, oh my, she's mad about this stupid thing, this person didn't even mean it, you know what I mean? And find that kind of cute. You guys might also be afraid of things like scary movies or roller coasters. I feel like there's something that's very cute and kind of small, and like people want to protect you, you know? So you might have things like you hate a scary movie, or you hate like heavy metal music, or you hate like I said, a roller coaster or something kind of scary like that. And I feel like it does bring out a protective instinct in a lot of people for whatever this is. It's like maybe you don't like really sad stuff, or really, I feel like there's something that, again, like people just want to look out for you. They kind of see you as like not fragile, but someone who like is worth protecting and needs protecting, and like is too sweet in some ways for this harsh world, you know? Like you're not a harsh, or like kind of, I want to say the word gauche, but that's not quite it. But like you're not a depraved type of person who's like, oh, I love watching people get really seriously hurt in a horror film or in like a viral video. I love watching that. You're someone that's like, oh my God, I can't sleep. I saw it. Like it was too upsetting. And I feel like that, whatever that is, whatever this is, it's something that I feel like people find it endearing. They might tease you about it, or they might be like, oh my God, you're such a dork. Like, I can't believe you hate roller coasters, or I can't believe you won't go tubing with us, or I can't believe you're so afraid of heights, or whatever this is. But I feel like that's something actually deep down they find really, really cute. Let me get some of these song cards because I really like these. So we're going to do songs for the vibe of pile number 2. So this song card is Kitchen Witch, Ariel Pink. So maybe you guys give off a kitchen witch vibe. So kitchen witches is a form of witchcraft where it's like you're using kitchen supplies, basically, to sum it up really quick. And so you would use like herbs and spices and ingredients that you would find in the kitchen, water and whatnot. But yeah, so I feel like you might have an esoteric vibe about you. And you know, that makes sense because like I feel like Hermione, like Harry Pottery vibes, like isn't it Professor Trelawney? She's kind of like spacey and she does divination. So you might seem sometimes like nose in a book type, like you know a lot, or you're someone who might just have a lot of like ingredients in your kitchen, or be very knowledgeable about like plants, or have a green thumb or something like that. Or you might actually do some kind of esoteric metaphysical work, like you might pull tarot or do some kind of witchcraft, or not like heavy witchcraft that feels very light and not like, you know, black magic or anything like that. But you might be someone who's also like an animal lover, or obsessed with plants, or just very nutrition focused, but I feel like, yeah, I could see that kind of vibe and that kind of expertise. And I feel like when you are deciding to take care of someone, like they feel so taken care of. Like when you are you know, asking someone to come over and you'll cook for them, you would probably make the most amazing meal, and you would probably leave them just being like, wow, that was so good. And I felt so looked after, and Pile 2 was just so sweet and nice to me. And yeah, I feel like you would probably really enjoy like feeding the people close to you, or looking after them, or, you know, making them supper or whatever. Yeah, we got Never Get You Right, Brandon Flowers. So like I said at the beginning, there might be a vibe where you sometimes, some of you guys have been through a lot. Like you might have had hardship in your own life, or a rough childhood or something. And that might be why you're so compassionate to others, and why sometimes you shy away from things like conflict. Like maybe other people have a reaction, you know, it depends. Everyone's different, and people can react to like difficult stimulations by having like fight or flight responses, freeze responses. I feel like you would kind of be the flight or freeze. Like you might not be as much of a horrible, vicious fighter. You might be someone who's more like, let's just calm everyone down, calm everything down, and let's be kind, and let's be nice. And you get kind of flustered. And maybe some of you guys even feel embarrassed about that. Like, I need to be tougher, or I wish I was more like savage. But I feel like actually people find this very cute about you, that you are this gentle spirit and gentle soul. You're very unassuming and kind, and you're not someone who I feel like really relishes when you have to fight or argue with someone. And I feel like people, like I said, that brings out that protective instinct that I mentioned before. We also got I've Got You Under My Skin. And so that song is so funny because I feel like he's talking about kind of almost like little irritations you might have with someone, or little, maybe I'm thinking of a different Frank Sinatra song, but that's what I always think of with that, of like, you know, sometimes when you like someone, but when you think about them, you think about like the dorky way they walk, or like the way they always scratch their head, and like you're kind of like, why do they do that? It's not like it, like usually when you think about falling in love, you think about like, oh my gosh, they have this perfect body, or they have this, their look in their eyes is so beautiful. But actually I feel like a lot of times you're like, oh my god, the way they snort when they laugh, it's so endearing, you know? And I feel like that's kind of something like you guys can be a little dorky, or there's something about you that is kind of imperfectly cute. You know, you're not trying to be perfect. You're kind of like so open energetically, and you're very goofy at times. Let's get another card from here. Sex with my ex, little peep. So you might have an ex trying to come through, but we're not trying to turn it into a reading like that, although it might happen in the extended. But over here, no. Everlong, Foo Fighters. Okay, so the lyric to that's coming to my mind is breathe out so I can breathe you in. And the vibe of that song and the video always reminds me of kind of like a dusky, I don't know, almost early morning in summer, like a party that's gone on too long in the suburbs or something like that, you know, and kind of surrealistic, and like a playground in mist at dawn. I don't know. So I feel like there's something about you that, again, there's almost a perpetual youthful quality to you. Like you kind of seem like a high schooler, even if you're much older, because there's something that hasn't become jaded about you. There's something that's still very warm and open and kind, and something about you that I feel like people kind of can't quite capture in their hands. Like it's almost like quicksilver, it just drips on through. And I feel like, you know, something a little elusive, maybe because you escape to these fantasy worlds, or you have this really amazing mind that's always going a million miles an hour, and you always are learning new things, and you're very like mercurial in that way. But I feel like there's something about you that people kind of can't quite get a hold of, and it just is very intriguing to them. Let's get some astro dice for pile number 2. We got, okay, so we got Scorpio and Cancer and Pisces. Okay, water signs coming through. I love that. Okay, so Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, 12th house, moon, and Scorpio. So I guess we'll read water energy, which I love because I'm a grand water trine. But water, yeah, is very dreamy, imaginative. It's very creative. It's very psychic. And one thing I really love about water energy, speaking as a biased water trine, is how I feel non-judgmental a lot of water is because of the psychic abilities it confers. So you don't just take people at face value, but you kind of are able to perceive why they're acting a certain way, even if it's dysfunctional. Like you're able to be like, childhood trauma, without them having to tell you, you know what I mean? So a lot of water signs will kind of, if they sense that you're coming from a good place, they'll give you more grace, I feel. And so I feel like with you guys, you know, that's kind of the vibe, is like you're very nurturing to people who other people might be closed off to. And this really is like water energy. Like I was saying at the beginning, how I feel like someone could come up to you and tell you the craziest story and tell you about how they're cheating on their husband and blah, blah, blah. And instead of you passing judgment and being like, shame on you, you'd be the kind of person who would be like, wow, well, do you think that's, you know, do you think this is like the best decision for your life? You'd be very understanding and try to calmly talk them through like maybe the consequences or why they're acting that way. Or do you think you're doing this because of childhood stuff? Or are you happy with the choice? You know what I mean? Like very non-judgmental, very open and warm and loving. And really that is the energy of water, you know, how it should be, at least, is really using your psychic abilities to see the good in people and try to understand where they're coming from and try to intuitively tune into their motivations instead of like just taking their actions as like, how could they, from face value, you know what I mean? And very nurturing. Like water can be very nurturing. It's really, you know, the moon is the mother. So I feel like there's something, again, very protective of you, very caring about you. And I feel like you inspire people to kind of emotionally open up to you. So yeah, I think I am going to take the rest of this reading over to the extended guide. So if you want to see more of this, if it did resonate with you and you want to see the rest of this reading, then head on over to my Patreon. The link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description. So as soon as you sign up, by the way, you get access to all my readings. I have about 50 over there. So if you want to join us, I would absolutely love to have you. We're going to get into a lot more depth, talk more about these individual signs and pull a lot more cards. And get into some good details about this. So if you want to hear more, then head on over to that link underneath the timestamps in the comments, and I'll see you over on Patreon. But anyways, to all of you guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful. I hope you guys really liked this reading. If you did, please let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys, and make sure to like and subscribe so you can find out the next time I post, turn on notifications. And if you guys want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and get a half-hour or full hour-long session with me and have me pull tarot, do astrology, channel for you, whatever you would like. So that's briarrosetarot.com. Link is in my description for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back very soon for another reading for a lot of you guys, and for others of you, see you over on Patreon. But anyways, take care, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye. Hey, pile 2, so if you guys picked this mangosteen fruit, this is going to be your reading. They did a lot of detail here on the stem. It looks really realistic. I just had mangosteen a little while ago, and it's seriously so good. It tastes like sour apple candy. So if you literally had sour apple candy, that's what the inside tastes like. It's amazing. But anyways, guys, let's get into the cards. You guys got the Wise Woman of Wonderland, Integrity, Compromise, the Word Lord, Communication, Praise, Dishonesty, the Eagle King, the Big Picture, Angelic Help, and the Eyes of Beauty, Positive Expectations, Clarity. So I feel like you guys definitely fit the vibe of this reading, actually, like more so than anyone else I've gotten. Like, you guys are really, really cute. You guys are genuinely cute. I feel like you laugh a lot or giggle a lot, or you guys would be someone who has a really funny way of looking at the world. Like, I feel like there's kind of not chaotic energy about you, but something kind of unexpected, and you're always doing your own thing, and it's kind of unpredictable, hard for people to know what you're going to do next. And I feel like you kind of keep people on their toes. I'm getting a little bit of Manic Pixie Dream Girl vibes, just a little bit of it. And so I feel like there's something about you that, you know, you're always down to go on a road trip, or you're always down to try something new or do something wild. And almost like you might have people that think you have a little bit of a fear of commitment because of that. You might get people that think that you're someone that isn't necessarily going to want to settle down, or that you're like hard to get a hold of, or that you're someone who is yeah, a little bit like the hard to get, but not because you're playing hard to get or because you're like tough, but just that you're hard to get because I feel like you guys are someone who, like I said, is very independent, is always on to the next, is always doing something new. And I feel like you're not doing that to be standoffish, but sometimes it makes you hard to get a hold of. It makes you someone who people really don't know how to approach you or how to get you on a date or how to make this happen with you in the way they want. Because I think you feel so lighthearted and jovial that it's kind of like, how do I make this into a serious thing? I also feel like people assume that you have a lot of dates, a lot of offers, a lot of people wanting to go out with you, and a lot of people who are just kind of around you wanting to almost like get a piece of you, you know? I wouldn't be surprised if people see you as someone who would have a lot of social engagements, a lot of social occasions, or a lot of friends, or a lot of romantic offers. I feel like people might think of you as quite popular or someone who is just the life of the party, but it's almost like you never take things serious, and sometimes that irritates someone. Someone might even be trying to say like, I have really deep feelings for you, and you're the kind of person who would be like, oh my God, I know you're teasing me, whatever. Like, you wouldn't take it serious. I feel like you take everything very lighthearted, and honestly, I feel like this makes you very cute. Like, it's almost like the way you look at the world is through kind of rose-colored glasses. Like, you're not super serious. You're not wanting everything to be like really intense and really dark and really deep. You're wanting things to be a little bit lighter. And I feel like you have such a beautiful laugh. That's a big part of it, is like the way you giggle. You might also be into very kind of frivolous seeming things. Like, you might be into very like feminine things, I guess, if you're a woman, or if you're a guy, I don't know, like maybe guy things. But for a woman, maybe it's something like you love romantic comedies, and you love reality TV, or you love astrology, or you love kind of those things that people might tease you about, of like, oh my God, of course you're not into anything serious. Of course you don't want to watch documentaries. Of course you're wanting to just see this like funny TV show. But I feel like people love that you don't take yourselves too seriously, and you definitely inspire other people to kind of lighten up and to not be so serious themselves. You inspire other people to kind of stop and smell the roses, to look at the sunset, to take it a little bit easier. Yeah, I feel like there's something very creative about you. There's something very Venusian about you as well. So you guys might be literally into making art or doing creative projects in some way. I could also see you guys being really amazing cooks and like going around the kitchen and whipping different things up, or being one of those like amazing bakers who makes cakes that aren't just like a regular cake, but are like decorated incredibly with like floral designs, or those cakes that look like other cakes or something. Like, I feel like there's something so creative about you. I'm thinking of like the movie Patterson, and his wife in that movie is like always doing these crazy creative projects, and he's like a very down-to-earth guy, but she's very like kind of chaotic, and she's always like, oh, I decided that I need to take guitar, and I'm going to become a country singer, and can you buy me like a $500 guitar? And because he like loves her so much, he's always willing to, even though, you know, she doesn't like follow through on her projects, but he finds it so cute and adorable to see her excitement. And I feel like that's kind of like a vibe I'm getting from you guys, is like there's just something very open and happy and blissed out about a lot of you guys that I do think makes you very, very cute to many people. And I feel like you guys are the type of person that just gets the biggest, cutest grin on your face when you're excited about something, or just has the most adorable laugh. I'm hearing that Taylor Swift line where she says, you tilt your head back laughing like a little kid. And I don't know if that's something you guys do, but I could just see you being the kind of person that would like go to a carnival and be like, oh my God, can you win me one of those big stuffed teddy bears or something? And would be like very excited to see it come out, and be like, not necessarily fully like jumping up and down, but like that kind of energy of just like young, excited, happy, blissed out, that I feel like, yeah, people just find it really adorable and really endearing how excitable you are, how happy, how your eyes light up about things, how you take things very intensely. You're not just going to be like, oh, thanks for getting me the teddy bear. Okay, cool. You're going to be like, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so happy. I love it so much. So I feel like in a way, you might inspire people, even like random strangers, to just do random stuff for you. Like they might not even be someone that's like romantically trying to date you. It might just be like a random lady, but she ends up being like, oh, have this muffin for free, because I feel like it is endearing and they know that you are a nice soul, and they also know that you're going to show that excitement that we all want, right? When we do something nice for someone, we're doing it to be nice, but it's also really fun when they actually react to it by being like super excited and happy. And you're that kind of person who would be like an ideal recipient of a gift or something, because you would actually be like, thank you, that is so sweet. And you wouldn't just be like, oh, thanks. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, cool. So people love kind of seeing the world through your eyes and seeing the excitement and the delight you take in a lot of everyday things. I feel like you're also the kind of person who would notice small things. Like you might just have really good eyesight, and if you like you were out with a friend who was a bird watcher, you would be able to spot the bird from like 500 feet away when your friend is like, there's no birds around. And you're like, hey, isn't that an Oriole or something? Something they were really excited about seeing. And it makes their day. Or you might be the kind of person who walks past like a shop window and they put on a special display. And whereas everyone else just walks past and is like going off to work and doesn't care, you're the actual person who would be like, oh my God, look what they put up. And look, there's fake snow. And oh my God, there's little elves. That's so cute. And actually notice and actually take it in. And I also feel like you would be the kind of person who would really delight in like watching movies or TV shows and just get like all into it and all excited, and maybe even throw like theme parties around it, like have your friends over. And if it's like, I don't know, like Sex in the City or something, I know that's obviously from forever ago, but maybe you would throw like a elaborate cocktail party with cosmopolitans and like matching food, and everyone has to dress up in like 2000s fashion, you know? Or if you were watching like funny, like I don't know, Survivor, you have everyone bring tropical drinks, and everyone has to like dress up in like t-shirt and gym shorts, and you're doing like a relay race in the backyard or something. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you would just add fun to it. You might also like dressing up for like the holidays, or you know, decorating for the holidays or for seasonal decorations. But I feel like it's almost like there's a childlike enthusiasm and joy you still have, where you're not just like, oh, whatever, another day. I guess I'll have to dress up for Halloween. Oh, God. You're actually like enjoying it, and you actually take it seriously. And I feel like that enthusiasm really rubs off on everyone else. Like everyone loves to be around you when you're all enthusiastic and you're enjoying it. And there's something very fun about you. There's something that, you know, you're not a bore to sit next to at a cocktail party. You wouldn't just be droning on about a story that is like, and that's how I filed my taxes. But you would be telling a story that's like actually hilarious. And even if it is like a boring situation, like talking about you being stuck in traffic, you would just know how to tell it in a way that's really interesting and that's funny. Or even if you were talking about filing your taxes, you would tell it with a punchline that's just hilarious and would have everyone laughing. So I feel like people just really like being stuck next to you at a dinner party is like hitting the jackpot. You know, it's like, yes, okay, this person is gonna keep me laughing all night long. Let's get into some tarot, you guys. So we got the Knight of Wands, Nine of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, Two of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, and the Devil card. So we got the Knight of Wands, and that definitely is your energy, someone who is excitable, someone who's enthusiastic. And one energy is also creative, so it could be someone who also is like very into you know, different creative projects, like wanting to write a book or start a YouTube channel or sing or bake or paint or anything creative, garden or repair a car or whatever, literally anything creative, and like a hobby. And I feel like you are that person that's like full of life, that you wouldn't necessarily just be like, what are you doing today? Oh, nothing really. Like you might always have a project or an idea or something you're thinking about or something you're researching or reading about or learning about, or like I feel like you just tend to keep yourself busy in that way. And people might perceive that, you know, they need money to be able to date you because of that. With that, so many pentacle cards coming up, the nine of pentacles, they might see you as kind of bougie, and you might have that quality to you. You might be someone who is a little bougie at times or likes to dress up nicely. I feel like your fashion sense is really cool, and I feel like a lot of the people who have crushes on you, it might be, you know, your fashion sense being a factor of like, wow, I know pile 3 always looks good, and pile 3 is always going to make sure they're looking amazing, and I'm so proud to be with them on my arm, and I'm so proud to show them off a little bit, because pile 3 is just like this stunner, and pile 3 always goes out of their way to look amazing. They might also perceive you as someone who moves a lot, or is always like going to new places, always exploring, always trying new things. You might be that kind of person who, you know, whereas everyone else might be like, oh no, I don't want to try, like, I don't want to try, I don't know, Thai food. I'm not into that. And you're like, oh, I can't wait to try Thai food. And I already love Vietnamese cuisine. So like Thai food, I'm sure I'll love. Like, yeah, I feel like you're very like open with broad horizons. But some of you, I am hearing spirit is correcting something, that some of you guys can be picky, but if you are, it's almost like in a funny way. Like you would be so ridiculous to the point where you're like, I only eat chicken fingers. And people are like, oh my God, like it's kind of like a kid, but they think it's cute. You know, it's kind of endearing in a way. I also feel like you do go over the top sometimes with your fashion or style. Like if someone said, oh, it's a theme party and everyone's wearing shades of like white, but it's not that intense, you'd show up in like the most white outfit you ever could have, you know, white head to toe. Or if someone was like, oh, we're doing kind of like a Barbie themed party, but it's, yeah, it's whatever, and everyone else is just wearing like a nice dress, you'd show up like fully decked out in like the most Barbie looking outfit you could think of. Like you might make something that's like a replica of an actual Barbie outfit from the 80s, and then do your hair up in like a huge high ponytail and put on lots of makeup. And everyone else was just like, oh, I thought Barbie was just like, I was just dressed in like random pink dress, but it's not even, it's not that intense. And then you're like head to toe pink and super over the top. You know what I mean? I feel like you guys just love to go all out, and people love to see how you interpret things. Or or you might just be someone who likes to dress in a way like that. Like you like to wear all pink all the time, or you like to dress in a super feminine way, or show up like decked out, and you're not interested in like kind of just doing it halfway. I feel like you guys really love going over the top. You don't mind the attention. And again, I think people find that enthusiasm you take in everything very, very charming. With the Devil card, you might have a lot of people who think you're very innocent, and they might even fantasize about kind of like corrupting you, you know, and being the one to, I don't know, like introduce you to different things. I'm not going to get too much into that. We might get into it on the extended reading. I'm not sure over on Patreon, but for now we're keeping it PG for YouTube. But people might fantasize about, you know, kind of taking you to the dark side, so to speak, and showing you like different things when it comes to the bedroom or romantic stuff, because they might think of you as someone who's very innocent hearted and kind of sweet and young at heart. And I don't know, that might be something some people are like into, I guess. But yeah, I feel like they see you as someone who also like they would love to have you on their team, because if they like did something or they accomplished something, you wouldn't be that kind of person who would just be like, oh, okay, yeah, good job, babe. Anyway, you would be like, oh my God, I brought you a cake. I have a little bottle of mini champagne, and I know this is work, but I brought streamers, so I'm going to throw them in the air over your desk, and here's some confetti too. Like, I feel like you would just make the smallest things, no matter how tiny, into a fun event, into something that was a blast into something that people could look forward to. And for that reason, you might really get along well with children and animals as well, because I feel like you vibe with that energy that's kind of young and innocent hearted that children and pets have, where you're not jaded, you're not just like old and bored and whatever. You're very like enthusiastic and eager, and you can turn even the most dull thing into a fun event. I'm hearing that song from, I think, Mary Tyler Moore, where they say she can turn the world on with her smile. She can take a rotten day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile. I didn't know I knew those lyrics until just now, but I guess I do. But yeah, I feel like you guys or take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile. So I feel like you guys could take any old boring day and like you would be enthusiastic. Like if someone else in the office was like, we have another client and yeah, they're like, it reminds me sometimes of, when I used to work in family law, and it was like some of the people would be really jaded, but I loved hearing all the drama in family law. It was so interesting to me, and it was so, oh my God, I actually really liked it. But sometimes your coworkers would be like, oh God, we have another person coming in, and I'd be like, what happened? What was the divorce? What was all the drama? Why did they break up? What's going on? So, you know what I mean? Maybe you work at a job like that where like everyone else is like, oh, just the customers again, and you're like, but the last time they came in, they were fighting, and then she threatened to break up with him, and then he was begging for her back, but then he's stormed out, and like you actually pay attention to that, and I feel like your enthusiasm makes other people like kind of be like, you know what, you're right, it is kind of interesting. It's not just like a boring old day. There is something interesting to be seen about that. So like you have a very unique perspective on things, and I feel like people really like kind of hearing from you and seeing that perspective. Let's get some song cards for pile number 3 that sum up the vibe. Wish You Were On It, Florida Georgia Line. Okay. This is Pang, Caroline Polachek. Okay. Smile Like You Mean It, The Killers. What is the vibe for pile 3? Why do people find pile 3 cute? I Want to Be Yours, Arctic Monkeys. The only thing that I'm getting is like sometimes people really think that you're not very serious when it comes to relationships, like because you're so charming and because you get along with everyone, sometimes it could work against you where people are like, oh, okay, so pile 3 is just charming everyone out here. Just, they're just getting everyone to fall in love with them. Closer, Tegan and Sarah. I like the energy of that song for yours because for you because it's a very excitable song. It's kind of like young high school love vibes. And oh my God, Sunflower, Post Malone, that's totally your vibe as well. Yeah, because you guys are so like sunny, bright, open. Yeah, it's very like positive feeling, like a summer day or a beautiful day in late spring that's like full of light and beautiful puffy clouds. That's kind of the vibe. And what I was saying was oh yeah, so I feel like people sometimes think though that like you're just friends with everyone, or you're just charming to everyone, or you're always delighted with everything and everyone. Like you're not picky, you're not gonna like you could probably be someone who falls in love like one-sidedly. Not saying that you've done that, but like if you needed to, like if you were on a reality show and you had to last to the end for some reason, and they were like, okay, you gotta fall in love with this guy, just by sheer force of your enthusiasm and the magical way you look at the world, you could probably be like, okay, I'm going to power through. I'm going to fall in love with this man. I'm not saying like you get left behind, but I'm saying that sometimes I feel like people are like, okay, so do they really like me? Or am I imagining it? Because they're nice to everyone. They're friendly to everyone. And I don't think they take it so serious. Like, I think they're just being social. I just think they're being like, kind of kind and friendly and whatever, and I don't think they actually really care about me. And I feel like over time, sometimes they might shy away from actually stepping up to you and really asking you out because they are convinced that like you don't really mean it. Pile 3, you're just nice to everyone. You're just turning on the charm. I know you've done this to like 8 other people just today. You've done it to like the mailman and the random client and the waiter, and so I know you're not serious with me. And I feel like sometimes that might frustrate you. If you have real feelings for someone, you might be like, why aren't they approaching? And that might be why, is because they just assume that like you don't really mean it. You know, like, yeah, you're friendly with them, but you're friendly with everyone. And you might have that experience where you feel like they feel like a lot of people know you, or how does pile 3 have so many friends, or how does pile 3 like get along with so many people? Okay, so they don't really care that much. So they're just being nice to me. They're just being kind, and that's how they are. But I feel like people really like wish they could just bottle up your sunshine. Like it's almost like a young child. Like I'm getting 5 of Cups vibes. Excuse me, 5 of Cups, 6 of Cups, 6 of Cups for sure, not 5 of Cups vibes, where you guys are just playful and open and happy and joyful. Yeah, let's get some astrology dice. By the way, okay, Spirit, please give me some energies for pile 3. So we got the first house, we got Jupiter and Taurus. Okay, so I totally can see Taurus vibes for you guys. I almost mentioned Taurus because I'm seeing that like Taurus season energy where everything is so beautiful in spring. So we got, yeah, Aries, Sag, and then we have Taurus. So Aries, Sagittarius, Taurus, and of course Aries and Sag are 2 fire signs, and Sagittarius energy is very bright, open, expansive. They're the archer. They're always trying something new. They always have a new goal. They always have something new that they're doing, or that they're endeavoring on, or they're excited about, somewhere new they're traveling to or learning about, or just something new. They love newness. So does Aries. All, you know, fire signs in general like that fresh, exciting energy. And Aries is, of course, the first sign in the zodiac wheel. So it is kind of about the self, and it's the first gasp of spring. It's the first energy where we're leaving winter and we're coming into the new year, astrologically speaking. So it's a very fresh, bold energy. And I feel like you're that way. Like I said, I feel like you're the kind of person that you might get annoyed when someone's trying to get like real serious, or trying to like get really intense, or you might have even had experiences in the past where someone was like, listen, I love you, or like trying to have this really serious relationship discussion, and you're kind of like, okay, LOL. That's so Sagittarian, by the way. Sagittarians can be super chaotic like that. But yeah, I feel like people, you know, they might get mad about it in the moment, but they're very charmed by it. They're very charmed and energized by your energy and your attitude that you have. It feels like it takes a lot to phase you, and it takes a lot to put you in a really bad mood, and you almost always could find a silver lining or something really positive to think about. So I feel like a lot of the people around you kind of glom off your energy a little bit. They glean energy from you. They love the way you look at things and the perspective you have, and so it inspires them to be more positive as well. We also have Taurus energy coming through, and of course Taurus is all about luxury. It's all about indulgence. It's also about natural beauty. Like I said, it's kind of that energy of like the most beautiful part of spring, when there's like, you know, dogwoods blooming. If you've ever seen a dogwood tree, it's so pretty. It's an ugly name, but it's a really pretty tree. And you know, everything is in bloom, and it's like a beautiful warm sunset. It's just the perfect temperature, and there's like fresh grass sprouting, and you can just smell it everywhere. That's like Taurus energy, and it's all luxury, it's all beauty, it's all the good things in life. And it is the second house of earned income, luxury. So again, this heavy energy around you that people assume you like luxurious things, or that you might have a lot of romantic competitors for you who would be willing to give you money or be willing to pay for you in some way. So I do feel like sometimes that intimidates people, and sometimes it might make them a little wary of like approaching you, because they're like, yeah, I'm sure pile 3 has like a million like wealthy suitors that are trying to get with them. Like they probably don't even have time for me. Pile 3 is the kind of person, they might think you have a lot of simps. They might think you have just a lot of people in your DMs constantly offering to take you places, because I feel like you are very attractive physically, but also just your positive, happy energy is so infectious that it's like lots of people end up getting addicted to it, and lots of people are willing to do whatever to keep you around. Because it is very cute and it is very endearing. And like I said, you can take the worst day and make it super positive. You can take the most boring seminar and turn it into something fun and exciting, and like you giggling with the person in the back row and sharing, I don't know, like Twizzlers or something, and laughing about it, you know? So people have, I think, so many fond memories of being with you, whether it's friends, whether it's romantic partners. There's so many people that just like look back with so many positive memories and are really grateful to the positive effect you've had on their life. But I do think they find it all very super cute, endearing, and just like there's a lot of people that want to cuddle you, is what I'm hearing, pile 3. You might have just a very cuddleable body, I guess. But it's like, I feel like they kind of want to, like, it's almost like you're such a frenzy of activity that they're like, if I can just get them alone and like wrap them in my arms, maybe they won't be like running around always going to the next thing. You know what I mean? That's maybe their only feeling when they can actually have your full attention, or that's when they think they'll be actually able to have your full attention. But anyways, guys, I'm going to continue this over on my Patreon. So if you want more information on this and to hear the rest of the reading, then that's where you can head to get it. Just go to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description. And as soon as you sign up, you get access to all my readings. So about 50 additional readings about love, life, spirituality, career, relocation, so many different topics. You get access to all of them over there. So I would love to have you join us if you want to join our little group over there and follow up on the rest of this, get more info. Like I said, we might be talking a little bit about this devil card that came through and some of the other stuff that we don't want to put on YouTube. So if you want to see that, like I said, head to the link for my Patreon and join us over there. I would absolutely love to have you. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys will let me know how it resonated for you. Leave me a comment. I always love reading them, about your thoughts and reactions to everything. Also, make sure to hit the like button, give this reading a thumbs up if it did resonate with you, and make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on. Hit the bell so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you guys also want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up for a half-hour or a full hour-long session with me. You can have me pull tarot, read your astrology, channel intuitively, channel mediumship. You get to really choose how it goes. So if you'd like to get one of those, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you guys very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey pile 4, so if you guys picked this lemon, this is going to be your reading. They did so much detail on this. I love the detailing on the leaf. I just feel like they knocked this out of the park. And then the actual rind is perfectly shiny and kind of bumpy, just like a real lemon rind. And look how accurate even this little stem is. It's just, wow, they did a great job. And the shading, the detailing, wow. But anyways, guys, let's get into your cards. You guys got the River Queen, flow, letting go, natural movement, the cosmos, creativity, vastness, the eyes of beauty, positive expectations, clarity, and the prison wave, self-sabotage, poverty, consciousness. So the first thing I'm getting is a lot of people feel very protective of you, pile 4. They feel that you're very cute in kind of a delicate or fragile way. And not in a bad thing, but I almost feel like you guys are the creative type. Like you are the kind of person that feels things so deeply. And I feel like that's something a lot of people find very cute about you. Like if you saw a little bird that was like injured on the ground, I feel like you guys might start crying. Or if you saw a, you know, I don't know, drove past a car accident or something, you might be like completely upset for the next hour, like if it was a bad car accident. Or you might be someone that, you know, if someone's asking for money, you just feel for them so deeply. And I feel like sometimes people get almost a little amused by this, even though they know your emotions are so valid and they respect it, but they're also like, oh my gosh, like pile 4 is way too sensitive for this world. Pile 4 is just like this kind of not delicate flower, but I feel like you are the artistic, sensitive type. Like, you know what I'm seeing is like Jess from Gilmore Girls, how he would like sit in the, like the vibe with him is like sitting in the back of the classroom in his leather jacket reading poetry, you know? And I feel like that's kind of you guys, how it's kind of funny sometimes how he was like this rebel, but he was also like very emotional and intense about his feelings. And I feel like sometimes that's you. Like you guys care a lot, you feel deeply, you feel things intensely. And I feel like sometimes you even have a hard time understanding like how can someone be so cold, or how can someone be not caring when they see like someone asking for money on the side of the highway. How can they just drive past? Like I feel like that's you. Like sometimes you get weighed down by the weight of the world. And so I do feel like you have a lot of people around you who think that's really adorable, and honestly who would love to like look out for you, take care of you, protect you, like block you from this kind of negative energy that other people put towards you. But honestly, I feel like a lot of this creativity is very intense, and it gives this emotion you're feeling, it gives you creativity, it makes you really good and gifted at certain creative fields. So you guys might be very artistic, or you might be someone who also marches to the beat of your own drum. This might be something a lot of people also find very cute about you, is I feel like you don't necessarily dress to conform or to get along with others. And sometimes that might make people almost resent you, because people can get mad when someone kind of steps out of line, and they can take it personally, like, oh, so you think you're better than us? So all the rest of us are dressing like this and you have to look all different. And they can, you know, really take it to heart. And I feel like you've sometimes run into situations like that with people like taking your independence negatively, or taking your sensitive spirit and kind of mocking it or something. And so again, I feel like it makes people very protective of you, and the people that really love you, like really love you and think of you as just such a special soul. But it does give you, I feel like, those creative gifts. Like I was saying, it actually does make you a better artist, or it gives you gifts in art. I really think that for you guys. So if you're, you know, you might be a great writer, you might be a great painter or a great cook or something, but there's something about you that I feel like looks at the world in a very different way, an unusual way. You might even have Aquarius placements where you like to be different, you like to stick outside of the crowd. And I feel like sometimes people get a kick out of the fact that, like, sometimes you are willing to go to the mat for it. Like if someone's like, yeah, but everyone's dressing like this, so you really should change. You'd be that kind of person who'd be like, I'm not changing, and I don't care if they get mad, and I don't care if there's consequences. So it's like you really care that much about it, and you're that independent minded that you're willing to sometimes take a little bit of pushback. And I feel like the people around you that are close to you, sometimes they kind of think like, oh my God, pile four, just do it. Like, what are you doing? Why are you making such a big deal about it? But they also really respect it. But it does make them want to protect you. It does make them want to look out for you, because they're like, I don't think everyone's going to get pile four. I don't think people are going to understand what pile four is doing, or pile four's intentions, or that pile four isn't trying to like rock the boat and isn't trying to like disrupt everything. Pile four just feels the need to express themselves creatively, and they have a very unique perspective. So I feel like that's something that is very cute about you, is the kind of fierce independence you have and the willingness to like go to the mat for yourself, so long as you're serving your true authentic self. You know, you're not gonna buckle under pressure, and you're not gonna just do whatever to conform. And sometimes it's kind of totally illogical. Like, it's like, oh my God, just change. Like, what's the big deal, you know? But I feel like it is cute how you get very attached to like, no, I'm doing this my way, and I'm not going to conform, and I'm not going to just follow everyone else. And I feel like that's something a lot of people really actually admire quite a lot about you. But I feel like people also love how emotionally deep you get, and it allows them to open up emotionally with you. It allows them to kind of tap into like getting access to how emotional you get over various things. It makes other people feel like they can get more in touch with their emotions, and they can be more aware of their emotions, seeing how intensely you take things, and seeing how in touch you are with that side of yourself. And also the way you like imagine and dream of all these creative, amazing things, I think maybe inspires other people to start thinking of those things themselves, and trying to be more creative and thinking of what they could put out there or what they could do differently. So yeah, let's get into some of the tarot though. So we got 7 of Wands, 3 of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, Page of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, and we got the 9 of Swords. So yeah, with the 9 of Swords, you guys might be prone to like staying up late, worrying, sometimes stressing out about things. And I actually think people find this really endearing. Like, I feel like you are that kind of person who might just worry a lot about different things. Like if you're going on a plane or going on a trip and you have to ride a plane, you might be that kind of person that ends up researching about like plane crashes the night before, or ends up knock wood, but you might end up kind of really overthinking things, you know, getting really nervous, and people might find that really cute. You might be easily spooked, or you might be the kind of person where if you hear a loud you might be noise sensitive. If you hear a loud noise, it's like really disturbing to you, or really like disruptive. And you might be someone that, you know, if like someone was like, oh, let's go camping, you'd be like, but what about the bears? And what about what if there's a serial killer? And what about this? And like, what if someone drowns in the river nearby? Like, you know, and I feel like sometimes people laugh about that, like, oh my God, pile four, just like, your mind doesn't need to be going a million miles an hour. You don't need to be like overthinking absolutely everything, but they also find it cute. And you might also sometimes feel out of your depth because maybe you live in a place that like is very different from where you grew up. Like if you lived in a city growing up, you might now live in a rural area and you're like, oh my God, like where's the freaking local patisserie? And your, you know, partner's like, there is not a local patisserie. What are you talking about? And you're like, come on, there has to be a local place that sells authentic French pastries. Like this is a joke. Where is it? And they're like, there isn't any. Like you can go get some crescent rolls from the store, but that's it. Or maybe the opposite, like maybe you live in a big city and sometimes a partner of yours or your friends find it comical how you'll talk about like, I don't know, going fishing or something. And they're like, what do you mean? And it just is like kind of this like jarring thing of you like seeming out of your element at times or being a little bit like, oh wait, how do I do this in a way that I don't know, the people around you find kind of cute or find like, oh my gosh, this pile four, they need all this help and protection. Like it does make a lot of people really want to protect you and look after you. I will say I also think sometimes people don't understand you or sometimes even take offense to you. Like you might be making that comment like, oh well, I always grew up with my dad fishing. I think it's crazy there's not a place to go fishing here in this city. And someone's like, oh really? Well then why don't you move back to your small town? That's really rude that you would say that about this city. This is a nice city and you know, we don't need to go fishing like you know what I mean? Like I feel like sometimes it might rub people the wrong way that you are concerned about different things or that you do have this personal taste or that you are not picky, but like I feel like sometimes it's almost like anxiety gets to you or you just like things to be done a certain way. So yeah, I feel like people sometimes get like annoyed or even competitive with you because I also feel like you're someone who's so like deep in how you look at things that sometimes when you're looking at a situation, someone else might look at it from all the same way. And then you're that person that would come along and be like, no, I totally disagree. And here's why, and have like 15 reasons why it shouldn't be like that, why it should be something else. So again, I feel like some people find that really cute. Like, oh wow, they have this really amazing, interesting, beautiful mind that's like so complex. You might even attract like sapiosexuals because of that, because they see the deep thinking you do and the way you look into things on such a deep level. But you also might get people irritated, or maybe someone thought they were really smart and they had a really unique perspective. And then you're like, oh no, actually, let me point out the 5 things wrong with what you just said. And I was actually thinking about it and I was thinking of this. And you say something really brilliant off the cuff. And then they're like, oh, well, excuse me. Oh, okay. So I guess that's how it's going to be. And they start getting really competitive only because they sense that you are really smart and you have this deep intelligence inside of you. And I feel like if someone was to like sit next to you in a bar or at a dinner party, you would just be that super perfect guest that everyone would want to talk to, that would just have the most interesting topics, interesting things to say. You guys would even probably excel in like a teaching position or at a university doing research or something, because again, I feel like you just naturally think of things on a really, really deep level and you look into things just beyond like the surface. Like you're not just going to take the common explanation, or if someone tells you, maybe as a kid you would get in trouble with your parents because they would tell you like, it's just because, and you would keep asking why, or you would ask a million questions. But I just feel like you are very introspective. You have a lot of interesting things to say and to think about. And again, I feel like you're someone who it would be great to actually be next to at a bar, or you know, a lot of strangers might find you very intriguing because it's almost like they're not going to have to deal with you again. I know that sounds bad, but I just mean like at work, someone might get competitive with you because they're like, oh, I have to deal with this every day. Oh, great. So this person knows so much and blah, blah, blah. Who are they? Whereas a stranger might not take it so personal because they're like, oh, I'm not competing with them at work. I'm just meeting them, so they can kind of meet you with a blank slate and less have it be less personal to them. And so for them, I feel like a lot of strangers would be like, I met the coolest person at this pub, and they just had the most fascinating things to talk about. But honestly, the major thing that comes through as super cute and just endearing about you guys is how fragile you are. And I know that sounds bad. I don't mean fragile as in breakable, but I feel like, in a world where a lot of people have up really harsh walls and they're just very not in tune with their emotions, not in touch with their emotions, and they just kind of take things as they are and just whatever, blah energy, you just feel a little bit more sensitive and you feel very open energetically, even though sometimes that might take a toll on you and you might be like, oh my God, I know this coworker is going through a really hard time and I'm trying not to take it on, but every day I come into work and I feel their emotions and it's so hard on me. And you might think of it at times as a bad thing to be such a kind of empath, but I do feel like this is such a gift and it makes people very like fascinated by you. Because I also feel like you move in a very elegant way, just the way you move your arms, your hands, your body in general. I'm hearing the word lithe, so you might be, that kind of a body type. But I do feel like you move in a way that's kind of gentle. And like I said, fragile or not breakable is the word coming to mind, but I'm not saying you're actually breakable. But I just mean so many people can seem like they've got this kind of perfect facade over them. And they're just like going through life rigidly, like almost militaristically, you know what I mean? Just like going through the motions and not in touch with any of their feelings and just, oh, well, it is what it is. And then I feel like you come around and you just feel so raw and fresh and like you're actually feeling everything and like you actually care on a deep level. You're not just kind of this robot android version of a human who's like pretending to care when they don't. You actually do care. And you actually are, it's like someone can like touch you in a relationship, touch your heart. You know what I mean? They can reach out and actually reach to your soul. It's not like completely blocked off the way a lot of other people's are. So I feel like this makes people want to kind of enfold you in a bear hug and take care of you and look after you and not let anyone hurt you or harm you, especially because they might sense that you have this negative energy around you sometimes where people get mad at you or jealous of you or don't understand you and take you as a threat, because it's like, I feel like sometimes people are very threatened by you, pile 4, for some reason. I feel like it's almost like there's some Taylor Swift line that keeps coming to my mind, but I can't get it. I think it's from her song Mean, and it's like people throw rocks at things that shine or something like that. And I feel like that's the vibe. And Taylor Swift is actually a great example of that because think of how much discourse has been made about like, she's so sensitive. She's always whining about a relationship. And it's like, yeah, that's her literal job, you clown. And she's a Cancer moon. Of course she's sensitive. And I think she's a Scorpio Mercury. She's a Scorpio Mars for sure. And that comes through. But anyway, she's like a Cancer moon. Of course she's going to be freaking sensitive, like duh. But that's what she's supposed to do, is feel emotions and then transmit them out to the collective to help other people listen to songs that they can identify with and resonate with. And people get threatened by that. And they're just like, why can't she just shut up? Why can't she just be quiet and why is she dating these people? And then and it's like, it's just so stupid. But my point is same with you. Like, I feel like sometimes people get mad at you where they're like, I don't get why pile 4 is so sensitive. They might even think like, oh, so you think you're better than me because you adopted a dog from a dog pound and you rescued like a squirrel. Well, you're not better than me. Like, I feel like your sensitive heart sometimes it works against you, or people get upset or triggered, or the way, like, again, I feel like this sensitivity, it would be really helpful if you're not already doing it for you guys in pile 4 to pour this into some work or into some creative work like writing or painting or cooking or anything creative, knitting, anything creative, gardening. So sometimes people might be like, oh, she's a writer. Oh, she's writing poetry. Oh my God, please just get over it. You know what I mean? Deep down, they wish they had your gifts. They wish they could look at situations and see the beauty and write the lyrics or the words that you do, because you are seeing things on a much deeper level than the average person. So let's get some song cards for pile for the vibe that pile 4 gives off that makes people find them cute and adorable. Let's see. Gorgeous. Taylor Swift. That's funny that that comes out after I'm just talking about her, but I have a lot of her songs in this. And then we have Storms, Fleetwood Mac. Perfect song for you guys. Yeah, I feel like, you know, that line that's coming to me is you should take it as a compliment the way I got drunk and made fun of the way you talk. And with Gorgeous, from Gorgeous. And I feel like, you know, sometimes you might put your foot in your mouth and say the wrong thing unintentionally and people might get offended. I keep getting this vibe that sometimes people get offended with you, Pile 4. I don't know why. But it's almost like, I feel like sometimes you feel like you're attacked. And I was actually going to talk about that because we got the Wheel of Fortune card, but it came out reverse. And the Wheel of Fortune is a luck energy. And when it's reversed, it can show luck is not on your side. So you might sometimes feel unlucky. And this might be something around you that people notice. Like, oh my God, Pile 4 can never catch a break. Or like, it might be something where like, if all your friends sneak into a bar from the back entrance, you're the one who gets singled out and dragged out of the bar. Not saying that's happened to me. That might be from personal experience. You know what I mean? When you gotta get in and you don't have an ID because you're underage and you sneak in, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. But of course, you know, if you're the only one being singled out, again, might have happened to me, it's highly embarrassing. And so there might be things like that happening in your life where you're like, oh my God, they all got away with it. And yet me, I get screwed. Like, this is so annoying. And it might be that like friends, people around you notice that. Like, they're like, yeah, of course, Pile 4 gets singled out. They always get singled out in this friend group. Why is Pile 4 always the one that gets carded? Or why is Pile 4 always the one that gets caught when we're doing something kind of shady and fun? Or why is Pile 4 always the one that the boss comes down hard on? And like, it's something like that. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, maybe you're going through some spiritual growth for that or something like that. I don't know. We got Storms by Fleetwood Mac, which again, I feel definitely sums up your vibe because that the lyric there is, but never have I been a blue calm sea, I've always been a storm. And I feel like that sums you up very well, where you are not just like a placid, easy energy. You might get all up in your feelings from time to time. You might be someone that like cares a lot, thinks about things deeply, isn't just gonna be like, okay, it's fine, whatever. You're gonna like not ruminate, but yeah, ruminate and think and stew and care. And I think people really in the society, I'm not gonna go on a tangent, but really don't understand the value of emotions or water energy, and they devalue it. So if someone's emotional or cares or is like feeling something really intense, people will just tell them to like, hey, get over it, move on, whatever, not realizing that there's a reason they feel that way and it might be worth investigating or whatever. So yeah, that's coming through strong. And then we got Right Through Me, Nicki Minaj. I feel like you are such a deep thinker. You can look into situations and really see them so deeply in a way that so many other people would not be able to. Like the way you look at something, the eye, the vision you have is on such a deeper or higher level than most people. So there might be a potential with you guys making art somehow, or with just, I feel like you're an interesting, like I said, conversationalist. The people around you who really love you love hearing your take on things. And they might come to you for like your opinion. Like, might be like a celebrity couple breaks up and next thing you know, your friend is calling you and they're like, hey, by the way, what do you think about this? Just because they want to hear your perspective, because you wouldn't just be the normal take on it of like, oh, I thought it was sad, or like, oh, I'm glad they broke up. He's really hot. So yeah, I'm glad he's single. You'd be like, well, I was thinking that like, the thing is his mom had a similar haircut to her, and I was wondering when she cut her hair if it had triggered some memories, because I know his mom was sick when he was younger. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you would just say something that's so deep. Like, you would just look into situations and you have such an amazing mind and way of grasping things and way of looking intensely into things. And so I feel like it's a real pleasure actually for a lot of the people around you when you get on like a spiel and you get into it and you start going off about like a situation. It's like a pleasure to listen to you dive down deep and start talking and start introspecting and start giving your opinion. Like, it's fascinating for a lot of people. They're like, wow, I never thought of that. That's so true. That's a really really good point. So yeah, I feel like that's something that's really cute is like when you're passionate, I'm hearing that your eyes light up and you get all excited and you start gesturing like crazy and you start just going off and you're like unstoppable when you get on a tangent. And a lot of people might be jealous of this because maybe this is why you have such jealousy energy around you where they're like, I wish I could hold people's attention like that. I wish I could be so interesting and have so many things to say and have this unique perspective and be as smart as pile 4 is, because like they're really smart. Honestly, I feel like you guys are just straight up a lot smarter than a lot of people. Let's get this card. Sunflower, Post Malone. Let's get one more. Bleed to Love Her, Lindsey Buckingham. Okay, so the Fleetwood Mac energy is strong. And you know, he wrote that song, he can deny it, but he wrote that song about Stevie Nicks, as everyone knows, which if you don't care about Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, they always mention, like, I guess that new show, Daisy Jones and the Six, came out, and that's about them. So maybe you'll care about them. But my point is that everyone knows he's been in love with her and he continues to write songs about her. But like Stevie is her own person. She's kind of this witchy, very esoteric vibe, very deep. She's an artist. She's sensitive. She's not like your typical housewife that's just like, hi, I made iced cinnamon buns for everyone. Like, that's not her vibe. She's like a difficult, you know what I mean? And she's an artist. And I feel like that's your vibe as well. Like, you guys are not just the easy person to be in a relationship with sometimes, but I feel like that's what makes you so addictive in a way, or makes you so unforgettable and have this intensity and power to you. Let's get some astrology dice for pile number 4. Okay, so we got the Sun, we got Cancer, and we got Scorpio. Wow, okay, so strong water, as I kept mentioning, this is very heavy water coming through, like the creativity, the depth, the intensity, and possible psychic abilities that you guys have, the empathy, the openness, and the emotions, you know, the strong emotions. I mentioned Cancer Moon, and then we have Cancer here. But, you know, a lot of these artists that get made fun of for being super over emotional have heavy Cancer in their charts, whether it's a Cancer Moon, like Drake, Lil Peep, Taylor Swift, or like Shawn Mendes has a lot of Cancer. He has a Cancer Mercury, for example. All the artists that kind of get mocked for like, oh my God, they're crying again, they all seem to have Cancer, and people really seem to get triggered sometimes by that emotional energy for some reason. Even if you don't have Cancer in your chart, you might have other planets that aspect this somehow, or a heavy moon or whatever. But I feel like, you know, that's why they're able to write these beautiful love songs, because they feel deeply. So the people that are hating on you, pile 4, maybe it's like they're jealous and they wish they had this potential about you, and they wish they had the ability to transmute pain and turn it into content, turn it into gold, turn it into poetry or art or something. And this kind of mysterious scorpionic vibe you give off, like I said, witchy, mysterious, hard to know. Like, I feel like even though you're very open about yourself, there is a side to yourself that you also keep a little bit away. So it's hard to describe. I feel like you're not as emotionally closed off as others, but you would be secretive about certain things, and you wouldn't be someone who would just want to tell everyone everything or become best friends with someone on first meeting. You are someone who, even though you're emotionally open, also protects yourself a little bit. And I feel like it just makes you very elusive, very attractive, people wanting to know a lot more about you. And we also have the Sun. So again, I think even though you're not trying to, and people might not associate this kind of energy with like, oh, they're seeking out attention, you naturally end up getting a lot of attention. And this might also be where jealousy comes from. And also these creative gifts in Leo, because Leo is creativity and 5th house is creative pursuits. So again, I really feel like a lot of you guys have a gift for something creative, but that's not the point of this reading. But the point is, I feel like so many people find you very cute and endearing because of this soft, sensitive, vulnerable side to you. They find it, you know, adorable, and they want to protect you. They want to like hide you away from this awful world. And I feel like it brings out that side of them that is protective, that they might not have ever experienced with anyone else. They might find themselves worrying, staying up late at night thinking about you, and, you know, hoping you're taking care of yourself, and hoping you're eating, and hoping you're like, you know, like you're good. Because I feel like, yeah, it just, there's something about you that just twists people's hearts and makes them feel so connected to you, especially romantically. Like, I just want to protect this person. I need to look after them. They're too good for this world. So yeah, I think I'm going to continue this reading over on Patreon, you guys. If you want to get more details on this energy, then head on over to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments for the extended Patreon reading. And of course, as soon as you sign up for my Patreon, you get access to all my readings. So about 50 additional readings about life, love, spirituality, career, relocation, so many different topics. And I would love to have you over there. So we'll be going into a lot more depth about this energy, about possibly people from past relationships, how they view you, and all the extra jazz about what people find attractive and endearing and cute about you guys and why they are so protective of you. So if you'd like to see that, then like I said, head to that link, and I would absolutely love to have you join us over there on Patreon. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments how it resonated from you guys. I love hearing from you, and make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button if it did resonate. Also make sure to subscribe and turn notifications on, hit the bell so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you guys would like to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me. Have me pull tarot, read your astrology, channel intuitively or mediumship for you. So there's lots of options to choose from, and I'd love to do a reading for you. So like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link is in my description for that. I am sending you guys so much love and light. I will see you guys very soon in another reading, or right over on Patreon right now. But I will see you then, and I'm sending you guys all my love. Take care, guys. Bye.